Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart. It's StuG III Ausf.G from March 1943. As you can see, this vehicle comes from Alkett production series, and we have it in a 1/35 scale, and this kit comes as a version without interior. And I hope you remember the previous video review where we actually checked the interior version, but this time we have a chance to take a look at the, let's say, simplified type, and it might be interesting for some modders who would like to, let's say, focus on the external features. Then it's definitely a good thing for them. And of course we have a commercial sample here, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. So we are going to open it together and check what is supplied in the box. So first of all, we have a really nice box art here. Here you can see comparison with my hand. We have short list of the features there, but it's quite classic for this brand. I guess there is no need to, let's say, describe it. Here on the side we have some safety information and address of the manufacturer. As you can see, safety information is given in 3 languages. And on the opposite side you will find 5 marking options for this kit. All of them can be copied out of the box, but we will talk about them later when we will be checking the assembly manual. So this is a top opening box. And here you can notice that we have plastic parts packed into the same plastic bag and assembly manual on the bottom. So this is a sealed plastic bag. I'm going to open it right now and we will check all this stuff together. In the meantime, let me remind you that you can support us with a small donation. It's quite an easy thing to do because we have a special support DSV button on our website. And of course you will be the one who will decide how much we will get from this or that, let's say, donation. And it's done via PayPal, so it should be pretty safe in my opinion. And of course it will be transferred immediately. So finally I've opened this plastic bag, but there is one more. So just give me a second again. I just don't understand what is this. So I guess I'll just throw it here. Okay, so let's move this box aside. Take the envelope here, and we have it for PE parts. I'm going to open it right now. Okay, so here we have PE parts. Let's zoom in. This is a, I would say, classic bonus for Miniart kits, and you can see that we even have this nameplate. This is, I would say, a relatively recent feature, and you might remember it from Tempo kit, which I have assembled, and I really recommend to check the video review or build review which was published on YouTube channel, because it's quite a nice kit. But here you can notice that we have a lot of PE parts, and it means that model will get a lot of fine features with help of these metal elements. Next we continue with another sealed plastic bag. Here we have decals packed together with a clear sprue, so I'm going to open it right now and we will take a closer look together. So first of all, this clear sprue, it looks great, but just like any other Miniart kit, this one does not feature any masks included. So in case you would like to cover all these clear elements, you have to cut your own stickers or maybe use some liquid masks, which will be a bit easier to work with. And here we continue with decals. They are coming from Decograph. Printing quality looks fine, and just to remind you, we have all necessary symbols here for 5 marking options, which is more than enough for the out of the box, let's say, choice. And next we continue, or actually start, with a gray plastic sprue. So here we have various parts for external features, and I can see also some internal elements as well. Note also these thin parts which will require careful separation, because otherwise you might end up with broken parts, and this is a bit tricky thing. So I recommend to pay attention where you can so that they will not end up breaking or broken. And here you can see also some tools, Pioneer tools, which will be installed on the vehicle. Note that these towing cable loops are provided without towing cable, so in case you would like to copy it, you will have to source your own metal towing cable, and it will require, let's say, some additional investment if you would like to get a proper one. Next we continue with the hull panels, first ones. So here you can see we have the internal wall, which is I would say nicely detailed from both sides, because it was originally as an interior kit, so that's why we still get some internal features even though we still do not have a full interior out of the box. And of course you might have noticed that the hatch is molded separately, so it should also influence the final, let's say, result, or maybe possible options. Here we continue with muzzle brakes. As you can see, they're provided as a single piece parts. That's really cool because it will make the overall appearance a bit more realistic. And of course, such design should be easier to work with. So I was just placing the sprues aside, and here we continue with another sprue. So these are mainly hull parts, armor panels, and they look quite fine. I like the pre-molded details here. As you can see, they are quite good. So it's just a matter of bringing them out with the washes and maybe oils, and you'll be good to go. Okay, next we continue with the narrow plastic sprue. Here I guess I will zoom in so that you can take a closer look. So here we have idlers, and next we continue with the suspension arms here. A lot of external elements for the hull detailing, and I can see also separate hatches here. These are torsion bars which will be installed inside, and they will not be visible because you won't be able to expose them obviously, but still it's nice inclusion, and it should give you a better understanding of how this vehicle was designed. And by the way, this sprue, as far as you can see, it is given in two pieces, because here is another one. Okay, next we continue with track parts, and these ones are supplied on, I'm trying to count them, so on 10 sprues. Here you can see it with your own eyes, but I will show you only one out of the sprues because they carry absolutely identical parts as far as you can see, and overall quality looks good. And of course it's great to get plastic track links out of the box. It might be a tedious procedure, but it should be worth it. And by the way, here we have also some pre-molded features. So as you can see, these are custom marks which should look great on the finished StuG. And of course you can also use this design for your own benefit. Maybe you would like to copy the destroyed vehicle, then such tracks definitely will come handy. Next we continue with the road wheels. So they are supplied on 4 identical plastic sprues. So here you can see them, and maybe I will show them just like this. Here we have good pre-molded features on the tire walls, and that's something what you would not expect from the original, let's say, plastic, but here we have it out of the box, and that's a really good thing because it is a noticeable feature in 1/35 scale. Next we continue with the drive sprockets, and here it's basically the same. We have a lot of pre-molded stuff, so here you can take a closer look, and of course we have some guiding elements from the opposite side, so it will be easy to align them together. And note that attachment points, where they are placed, well, they are placed on the teeth. So it will be easier to separate these parts, and of course it will speed up the assembly process because you won't have to deal with weird engineering out of the box. Next we continue with more road wheels, but this time we have them on slightly different type of the sprue. So here you can see them, and there are 4 sprues of this type. You can see that they're in the same quality as the previous part, so there is nothing to complain about. It's just a matter of assembling all these wheels together, and this might be a bit boring procedure, let's say it straight. Next we continue with the side skirts. So these ones are featuring really nice pre-molded details, you can see here, and of course on the opposite side as well, because it's a Miniart, so they decided not to skip on such thing, and it's not just a plain plastic from the opposite side as some manufacturers love to do. Surprisingly, main gun will be also detailed. Here you can see some parts for it. I guess it is needed because of the original design of this kit, so you cannot avoid it, and you have to build it in case you would like to place the main gun in the right spot, let's say, and have the natural appearance. Here we continue with 2 identical sprues. Frankly speaking, I'm not sure where these parts will go. I guess these are suspension parts, but we will, let's say, learn more when we will be checking the assembly manual. Next we continue with the tensioners. So they're provided on 2 identical sprues, but what I would like to show is pre-molded details again on the tires. They look great, and I would say that's something what at least me I'm used to see on resin parts, but here we get it on original plastic out of the box. Here we continue with more parts for the main gun. As you can see, that's the armor face mask. Also we have this support, main barrel, and everything looks fine. It's really good to get the main barrel as a single piece part, but of course professional modelers might resort for some metal replacement, and they would get a bit more sophisticated look, but in my opinion it's quite fine thing to get out of the box. Here we continue with 4 sprues with some thin parts. They will be used, I guess, for external armor, but we will see. Next we continue with the sprue with more hull panels. I'm just trying to understand where this panel will go. As you can see, it looks quite interesting, but overall molding quality looks fine. All the parts are clean enough in order to let's say quickly separate them without any additional procedures, so there is nothing to add, and I think it will be also quick to assemble, because usually Miniart applies quite interesting design with all the guiding elements in the right spot, so it will be just clicking together as long as you pay attention to the overall fitment, let's say. Here we continue with another hull plate. Note that all hatches, literally all hatches, are molded separately, and they can be assembled in open position, and that's really great because it will make it possible to place some figures inside, maybe to replicate again a damaged vehicle with open hatches. Amount of the possible options is really endless, so it's just up to your imagination or maybe some reference material. Next we continue with some armor panels. As you can see, they are still molded as a separate blocks. We have rivets pre-molded, and here we can take a look from the opposite side. Okay. Next, more Pioneer tools. So here we have various shovels, axes, and some cleaning tools for the main barrel. Everything looks fine, but again, use the right tools to separate these things, because if you use the classic plastic cutter, you might end up with the broken parts. Next we continue with some wooden parts for the rear log and some ammo boxes, as far as you can understand. So as you can see, there are they are not featuring any wooden texture as far as you can see. Here you can take a closer look together with me. So if you would like to replicate some wood weathering, it will be solely on your painting skills, not any other features in the plastic. And last but not the least is the biggest sprue with more hull parts. So here we find all the separate hatches, also some parts for the side panels, as far as you can see, some torsion bars, again some separate hatches here, armor panels, side panels for the lower hull section, and note that they're featuring a lot of pre-molded stuff, which is rather surprising, and still we have to add even more in order to replicate the full design. Here we continue with some parts which will be actually added, and this is a floor panel, and here I think it's worth turning it over so that you can see that we still have all interior features or things intact. So it's not let's say special remold of the original kit. It's actually based on the interior kit, just by subtracting the interior parts, all of them. Next we continue with assembly manual. So this one is printed in a form of typical Miniart brochure, so I'm going to zoom out a bit, and it comes in color. We have short list of the features here, and first 2 marking options coming from 1943 summer. As you can see, this is this sand colored camouflage. Another one from autumn 1943. We have parts map, and as usual Miniart does not show unused parts, so pay attention, because in some cases you might have a situation when you have similar parts and you have to decide which one goes where, and that's why you have to pay attention. Assembly process starts with a floor. You install these torsion bars, then you continue with some internal elements. So as I was saying, still some things will be replicated inside, even though this kit is let's say marketed as interior less version. Next, we continue with hatches. So just to remind you, you can open them as well. Here we have some parts for the engine bay. As you can see, PE parts are already employed, so be ready for that. And they're quite large. Note that, for example, this safety chains, they're also replicated with PE parts, which is rather good because it will give you a finer detailing in 1/35 scale. The same applies for these smoke launchers, as far as you can see. And also we start to assemble the superstructure here. So as you can see, it is actually a separate sub-assembly which will be later installed on the main hull. Next we proceed with the main gun here. Then we assemble the suspension parts and also the main turret or commander turret or machine gunner turret, because as you can see we have machine guns applied here. Next we continue with the rear armor panel, which, as you remember, was molded as a separate part, but still you have to add more stuff from both sides. And then you have some choices depending on the marking option you pick. That's something what I was talking about. So you have to pay attention to the parts you pick so that you replicate the right type of the vehicle in your project. Next, we continue with some hatches on the engine bay area. Of course, there is no point in opening them because there will be emptiness inside. There is no engine supplied here. More suspension parts are getting installed from both sides. And then finally, we start working on the road wheels and also drive sprockets. Note that, for example, tensioners, they will be also combined with P parts, which is rather special in my opinion. Next, we proceed with the main gun. So as you can see, it's a matter of gluing several parts together. And by the way, tracks. So each side should be assembled out of 94 tracks. As you can see, it's a matter of combining the same parts together. And then we install the side skirts, fire extinguisher, some Pioneer tools. And note that for Pioneer tools, we have an option to replace the pre-molded clamps with the P parts, but it will require some additional work from you. So that's the main question if you are up for such upgrade. For the towing cable, exactly what I was saying before, so you have to source your own towing cable, and obviously just the simple metal wire won't do because it doesn't have the necessary weave. Here we continue with the spare wheels. So these thin parts, they should be actually used for the spare wheels, which is rather interesting, I would say. More towing cables going here and there, and I can see that overall configuration of all this tools placement will depend on the marking option you choose. So again, pay attention to the marking you build, and you'll have to decide it from the start because later it will be too late to change your idea. Let's say here we have another vehicle from autumn 1943. It's Bulgarian 1st Assault Gun Battalion, and here we have another one in green color. I would say rather interesting marking option from March 1945. And of course there are a lot of additional sets from Miniart itself. As you can see, various figures copying different scenes, and this is really handy stuff. We reviewed it as well on our YouTube channel, so you can find it easily. And here we have two other options in 1/35 scale, which were also reviewed on our channel. As for today's kit, it should be already available, and you can get it on Modelimex webshop, of course. I will be happy to hear your opinion about such release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.